Welcome to Unboxing Women, where we expose the music and entertainment industry's dirty little secrets. Here, we uncover the truth of what is hiding behind the gossip, the glitter, and the fame. I'm Micah, and my Spotify Wrapped age is 22.
What? I'm Dana, and I kissed a girl and I liked it.
On this episode, we are about to unbox baby voices. So we're going to be talking about Paris Hilton, Britney Spears, and Ariana Grande.
Okay.
And so each of these women are or were in the media spotlight and displayed very high-pitched, innocent, or stupid-sounding voices, but for very different reasons. We've talked about baby voices before on this podcast and how they can be used and how they are perceived, but I really wanted to go into depth, and we thought this would be a good topic to cover, especially since with Ariana Grande it was a topic late last year, I think. Let's start with Paris Hilton. Paris Hilton has in recent years started to transition out of her baby voice, actually. She tends to drop down to her natural, more lower register. And it still seems to vary based on context, like the situational context, where her baby voice is triggered by some questions or something. And some people have suspected, this has not been, confirmed, but some people have suspected that her baby voice is or was a coping mechanism of coming into fame from an early age. But it is mainly speculation. So she is starting to transition out of it. But it still seems she sometimes slips into it, and we're not sure. Is this something she does on purpose, or is this something that is, in fact, some sort of mechanism that or even just what's it called? A habit she has developed. You know?
I did also some research on that, and she actually told us.
Mhm.
So Paris Hilton came up with The Simple Life. It was the first reality show out there in the early 2000s, and spoiler alert for those who don't know it yet, reality shows are totally scripted. And Paris was supposed to be a stereotypical dumb blonde. That's what the producers wanted, and that's what she gave them. Doesn't mean that that's what she is. She is an actress, and she does it really well. It made her famous and more loaded than before, because she was already loaded. And she made a career out of basically misogyny. So honestly, kudos to Paris, because we're all living in that world anyway. Why not leverage it and get something out of it, I would say.
Yes and no, but I'll touch on that later.
At the same time, she's already said in interviews that it's, I don't want to say an armor, that's not what she said, but that she does, she was so used to playing that character all day, every day, but in normal settings, because it's a reality show. It's not like she was on a set, it's like on the street. So it kind of became a habit of just, when there's people around, I'm this person, like that.
Yeah, because I remember having read something to that conclusion before, but I couldn't find it this time around. So I don't know where where I researched, but yeah, so good that you got that bit. So I wanted to go into the women kind of one by one, explain where they kind of came from, what baby voice specifically they talked about, and then talk about kind of the effects. Yes, so I would now kind of transition to Britney Spears. Most of us know Britney Spears from her iconic song Baby One More Time, where she is already singing in a more thinned out kind of nasal and breathy kind of voice. But there are videos actually of her as a child where she has this enormous voice with like great depths and power. And it just seems like this new persona is something that was created by producers, maybe in coordination with her, so that the album would sell better. But that kind of raises the question to me, why did guys, because let's face it, it was probably men, why did they think that? You know?
Yeah, well, it's men falling for children, isn't it? That's the whole problem that we're having today, with all of this coming out, and also I just saw a TikTok yesterday from a guy, an ally, saying, "Women, can you please stop, yeah, going for impossible beauty standards which are set by men who like children." Stop, just stop it. It's not realistic. It's ridiculous. These people need to be stopped. And he has a point.
When I was doing this research, I did a couple of things where I also talked to ChatGPT about things because I wanted to kind of see what would happen. Um, and because we are talking about this discussion about young women, people always say young women. There is no such thing as a young woman. There is a woman and there is a child, you know? Um, and when I started talking about this with ChatGPT, I kept getting told like, "Oh, this violates our kind of community guidelines or whatever," and getting blocked out of the chat. And I'm like, "What do you mean? I'm not talking about. What do you mean? What did I say?" And they were like, "Oh no, you didn't say anything wrong." And I was like, "Well, then why do I get blocked again the next sentence? What's going on?" Because talking about this, people will be very scared to say that adult men like children because that is saying they are pedophiles and that is a crime. And so it's like people don't want to say that. They're like, "Oh well, but these young women, from whatever 15 and above who have gone through puberty or something look like women. That's not men being sexually attracted to children. That's men being sexually attracted to women, young women." I'm like,
Young women, yes,
well,
okay. I
but
get your
no, it's
point.
not though, and so people are really afraid of saying that is still wrong.
Well, I said it.
Um,
I said it. I said children, and I do mean whatever you want to call it, young women. So women who have gone through puberty, but they're underage. So
yeah.
they are children. I know that a 16 and 17-year-old does not want me to say this. Me as a 16, 17-year-old, I do not want to hear this. I am a woman, I'm a woman. But that's
Mhm.
the whole problem of this thing, right? Because you are acting like a woman, but yeah,
You
it
don't
creates this
know,
whole
you
shit
don't
show.
understand consequences, you don't as much, you don't
Yeah.
understand what you are actually doing, um, I'd say for the most part, you know.
Yes, but
Even
that's
if you're
why,
intelligent, that doesn't
yes.
mean you understand
And
what you're
that's why the
doing.
responsibility is with the adult in this
Exactly.
relationship, and that's where it goes wrong.
Exactly. So this is a really really difficult topic, and I don't want to skirt around it because I'm really sick of people just being like, "Oh, you can't say that," and like, I'm not saying that all men are pedophiles. That's completely crazy. That is completely insane. That's not what I am saying. I am saying that men who are attracted to girls who are underage, that is something they should really think about because it's not okay. Like,
Exactly.
the thing is, being attracted to someone is one thing, acting on it is a completely different thing.
Yes, and that's the problem as well, right? They all act on it. They just have no self-control whatsoever, and then they blame it on their penis.
Let's get a little bit back on track here. So we were
Yes,
talking
please.
about Britney, and and we'll
Oh,
talk about
baby,
that a little
baby.
bit. Exactly. So Britney was being told to sing in a specific way, and we also how she was sexualized, and
Mm,
it was a whole thing. She was literally 16 when that music video came out.
yeah.
She wasn't a young woman. She was a child. She was in high school. In the video, she was in high school. But, she was dancing and singing in a way that was, to attract the male gaze. And people will argue, oh, girls found that interesting as well, or found, wanted to be her. But they wanted to be her because they thought she was sexy and wanted to be her so that men would find them sexy. I don't know. I
Yes.
feel like that is kind of the whole point that
But
that was
even,
centering on.
I don't know, as a 16, 17-year-old, you do want men to find you sexy, but you want men of your age or like 18 or 19 to find you sexy. You don't want a 40-year-old to find you
Oh
sexy,
yeah, yeah,
but
yeah,
that's
yeah.
what happens, isn't it?
Yes, but that's because they don't understand the consequences,
Yeah,
because obviously they shouldn't have to. They shouldn't have to,
yeah,
because obviously adult people should be able to restrain themselves.
yes.
But this is why it's so dangerous, I feel.
Yeah, that's what the children
Um,
are counting on, because they're just attracting, they want to attract their
yeah,
age, but
the
they
cute guy
attract
in school.
everything. Yeah, but they attract
Yeah.
everything from the 13-year-old boy who's like, oh, jizzing his pants for the first time, up to the 88-year-old man who's like, I'm gonna marry this girl.
Yeah.
What is that all
So
about?
it is really an entirely, it's so societal. It's framing girls as sexualized objects, really. And
It
it's
is.
just wrong on so many levels. And in this case with Britney, obviously the voice just adds another layer. It's like one sprinkle on the icing of a perfectly curated cake of, sexy teenager, which isn't a sentence that should exist. So let's jump to Ariana Grande. She is our most current vocalist on the list, and she has been known to change her vocal tone in her speech pattern a lot. And she has herself said that she uses a higher vocal register to rest her vocal folds when doing a lot of strenuous work, so recording, touring, filming, etc. And I personally have found little evidence to suggest that this is actually recommended. But of course, she can't go on full vocal rest if she's doing like press tours and stuff like that. So maybe using a less chest heavy voice feels better to her in that time, and she might kind of shift the vocal load onto other areas. But it just, I don't know. To me, it just feels like it's a strange thing to do.
Well, I'm imagining it. I'm a singer. I imagine it. I can imagine having to talk the whole day, but you have a concert in the evening, and her vocals are insane to just do with a rested
Yeah.
voice. So let me just do it for a second, and you know what happens when I do like this? Maybe I speak a little bit more. Well, the volume isn't as high, so the strain on my body isn't as much as if I when I have to push it out like this
Hmm.
to reach the camera mic and to
Hmm.
so I get it, but that's just speaking with less volume, which will also help. Maybe if you don't use a higher voice, you just fall back into your normal volume anyway, and it doesn't help. So if you go like this, you can actually just remember to keep it lower volume and you use less energy.
Yeah, I also, when I was researching this, I was also like, well, I can kind of understand that it feels better, because it just, when you talk if you've got like a lot of load on your chest voice, you feel that when you're talking, you really do. And so if you go like a little bit more kind of like this, it doesn't strain the same muscles as much. But at the same time, if you think about it, and if you look at it scientifically, vocal folds are vocal folds are vocal folds. You know, we don't have vocal folds for chest voice and vocal folds for head voice and stuff like that. You have one pair. That's all you have. That's the muscle you're using. So, and if you go higher, actually, it's more strenuous technically.
Well, you do have more airflow that goes through, so that means that they're not touching each other, that they're touching each other less, or
Yeah.
but yes, I do agree that when you go higher, the frequency of them will go up.
Hmm.
But if you use more air, which actually also is tiring though, but okay.
Oh, no, no, more air is really bad.
Yeah, more air is bad. I
Yeah.
don't know. It's interesting, but I guess if she does it continuously, it probably works for her.
It must be helping her, yeah. Just for anybody out there, whispering is worse than talking.
Yeah.
When you're not supposed to talk, whispering is worse.
Yes.
It's
So
so bad for your
if you're
voice.
ill, don't start whispering. It doesn't make any
Yeah.
sense. Just talk then, if you can't
Mhm.
fucking help yourself. Yeah, when you hear it like this, like Ariana is doing it to rest her voice, then all of a sudden it's not about being sexy. It's about being a performer. And
Mhm.
it immediately changes the game because she's not like doing like this. So it's like, oh, okay, then let's have this professional chat. Whereas other people who don't have this info at that moment are all like, ooh, what is she doing? Is she flirting with me? And
Mm.
and that's a little bit also the problem, I think. I mean, you can mainly see guys in interviews. I'm talking about Paris Hilton now, like on the Tonight Show, etc. They dumb down their questions when they're talking to a child. And I
Yeah.
mean a child. So when there's an actual child on the couch, like I would say, I don't know, a child actor who's coming for an interview, da, da, da. And then immediately the questions go, whoop, where, they have to be simple questions, yes or no answers, kind of stuff. While that's absolutely not what you should be doing, but okay,
Mhm.
because also children have an opinion, and yes, please use words that they already know, but they should be able to give an answer, not just yes, no. I've actually had this myself when I was doing a radio interview when I was 12, because I had a song come out back then in Belgium, and I was going to be on the radio, and I had this whole thing prepared, like great answers, and the guy just asked me yes no questions. So I had to answer yes or no, and then quickly try to go into whatever was relevant to whatever he asked me to kind
Mhm.
of give more background. But it was very hard for me because obviously I was only 12, but I knew that he was still going to do that, and he did.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and I was prepared, but as a child it's very hard to be that assertive in that
Mhm.
moment to actually get across what you prepared you were gonna say.
Mm.
And so, I mean, Paris is a great actor, and she deserves an Oscar for that role that she started with, that she kept up for at least 15 years or so. So kudos to her. And David Letterman, in an interview, asked her about doing the jail time. She did some jail time, and her run ins with the law. These were
Mhm.
repercussions from her sex tape coming out, by the way.
Mhm.
But the catch is that the deal to give the interview on his show was actually that he not ask her about the jail. It was agreed upon by him beforehand, and he did it anyway. And that to me is a huge lack of respect to go back on your word like that.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to ask that, at least be upfront and say, well, we know you don't like it, but we're only going to do the interview if we can ask those questions. Take it or leave it. They could have done that too.
It doesn't surprise me with David Letterman, though. There were a lot of things that he was really disrespectful about. I don't know a lot about him, but that I know. So, yeah.
And I have the feeling that today, in the way that this has evolved now and women are speaking up more, today she might have just called him out on it immediately and say, hey, you agreed you weren't going to ask me that, but
Yeah.
like on like live. What's up with breaking your word? And it would be
Mm.
bad for him. Instead,
Mhm.
obviously, that wasn't the case back then because it was
Mm.
the Nillies somewhere, and women, we are nowadays still brought up to be honest and non-intrusive. So she just sat there and took the shaming while he looked like the victor who had like just slain the dragon. It's
Which is
disgusting.
also very disgusting, especially if you think about, the power dynamic there as well. It's like, why
Yes.
why bring somebody onto your show and then, like, make them look so bad? It's like Ellen DeGeneres, which I never ever liked her show, actually. I was always like, "This woman is mean. This woman is
Yeah.
really, really mean."
For the shock
And, like,
factor and
yeah,
views.
I don't know, I just really didn't like her eyes. Like, I felt like they were really cold all the time. And people were like, "Oh, we love Ellen, we love Ellen." I'm like, "Why?
And now we
She's
know.
really mean."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, we all do the high pitch when we're afraid. And with afraid, I mean also shy, anxious, worried, all those complicated secondary negative emotions make your voice go up.
Mhm.
Some people are afraid to speak in front of a group of people, and when they do, their voices go up. And I
Yeah.
I had that when I was younger a lot in class. When I answered a question from the teacher, my voice
Mhm.
went up high, or when we needed to do a presentation in front of the whole class. So it's a natural thing to do, but I use the original word afraid because shy, anxious, worried are all like in the afraid category. Afraid is like a primary emotion. And when you do that, like the other person becomes you become the prey. You see, you become
Yeah.
the prey, and the other person, maybe also because of instinct and naturally, feels superior. Oh, this person is afraid, like, oh. So there is some dynamic there which does come from instinct, though. I must mention in this
Yeah,
episode.
probably. I think it's just we kind of that, and that is what you were starting to talk about as well. We need to kind of consider the effects of speaking in that kind of voice because no matter what the reason is, I mean, I guess it does matter a little bit, but even, if you talk in that voice, you were also saying about Ariana Grande, the minute oh, she's resting her voice, you're like, oh, that's a power move. She's a professional, she's doing this and this, but people don't necessarily know.
Yeah.
And so the way this is reflecting onto people is also something that I think that we need to consider um, as people, but also as women. I mean, what does kind of that? How does that impact other people? How does that impact other women? If we are talking in a higher register, and that people see us maybe as less than, and then
Yes,
that
it's
kind of
that opens the dilemma of, but then if you're looking at the consequence, you can't be yourself either, because then again you're looking at, oh, I have to do this because what society thinks again of me,
mm,
oh, I can't wear this top with revealing my breasts because I actually just need air and I'm fucking hot in here, but but people are gonna think I want to show my boobs. It's if you are then again going to look at what are the consequences and act differently upon that, I don't think that's the solution. I think the
mm,
solution is voicing it so that everybody knows, not only the interviewer. Can you imagine a world where we see Ariana Grande interviews, and instead of just launching into the interview and her having this sexy voice and everybody assuming a lot of things, she actually at the start of the interview just says, yes, I know my voice is very high right now, but I do this for this and this reason. And then, oh, okay, that's fine. And the interview starts. Would then not people have, you know, and they
but
not cut it out?
that kind of goes into the same vein, though. If you have to explain why you're doing something that way, does that then not also negate that? Because then every time you do something, you have to have an excuse. Like if you have that shirt with that shows your boobs, you're like, oh, I'm just really hot right now, and you can't just do.
Good point. Good point.
Because I thought yours was a really good point, that kind of we can't be afraid of the consequences in that way, because it's just, you get stuck in a spiral where you
Yeah.
think about, oh, what will everybody else think?
Yeah. And now
Um,
you're explaining, so you're already like giving an excuse why,
exactly.
which
Yeah.
is the same. It's
Yeah.
different, but the same. Ah, God. How, the patriarchy. Can't we just be? Yes, just
Yeah.
be.
So is it like now I'm questioning the entire episode. I'm like, is this something we should be talking about, or is this kind of should this just be normal? Is it just something that should be okay and should be normal and shouldn't be such a big deal. Why is it such a big deal?
When I started with Dana Rex in 2014, I was told that in pop, it's best to sing as high as possible.
Mm.
I have a low register, and it was just weird to me, but I understood it because immediately my mind went to, oh yeah, when I, like sing a Madonna song or a Katy Perry song or like Ariana Grande or whatever, it's high. And like Sia or even Lady Gaga when she
Yeah.
started, her songs, and we've already discussed this in other episodes, her songs are a much lower tone now that she writes than her first songs. And her first songs like Paparazzi, she used to, well, she still does. When she does them live, it's half a note lower than the original on the CD.
Hmm. That's very common.
Yeah, that's very common, but that's exactly what was said to me. So you need to sing in the studio as high as possible, and you need to really train that. And you can do them live lower, that's fine, that's no problem. But on the CD, the recording needs to be, people need to hear this as high as you can. Why? I'm not surprised that this was like what Britney Spears was also told to do.
Hmm.
And even, like I said, Sia sings lower live than on the recording because it's
Hmm.
just too high to comfortably do on a
Yeah.
live show. You can do it 20 times in the studio or more, so that's fine. And then they take the best take. Is it again to do with pleasing men or society that women have to speak like this? Or does it also have to do with what we like to hear in music? Remember when we also said that a falsetto voice for men has more success than them singing in a normal voice?
Hmm. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Because for women, we don't call it falsetto, but does this not then fall under the same principle?
Maybe, yeah, maybe it has to do with I mean, this is completely out of the blue, but maybe it has to do with how people like to listen to stuff. Or like a contrast between a high voice and like lower musical accompaniment and stuff, so that you sit in the right kind of frequency and it all mixes well. And you're not clashing with a lot of things.
I mean, that's why my songs from the Phoenix EP, my first EP, are all so much higher than the following songs.
Hmm.
All the songs after that, starting with Time Flies, I all do them in the original tone as the recording. I mean, my live shows. I sing them
Hmm.
live as the recording. And spoiler, there might be a song coming out though very soon that is like super high, but it wasn't written for me. And I wasn't actually supposed to be the singer of it. I was just going to do the demo. So I recorded it I really had to dig deep to go that high. But it actually sounds really great. And so, now I'm going to probably be the singer on it. And we haven't lowered the register. Or we're not going to re-record it. So if I ever sing it live, I probably will have to go like a full note lower. A full note, not a half note.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
We'll see, but this is very exciting. I wanted to touch upon something else because, similar. Now that I know that, people were saying you have to sing as high as possible. Now that I know that, I don't do it myself. I've noticed Gaga doesn't do it anymore either. She uses a very, for her, comfortable place to start with her songs. Obviously,
Hmm.
the chorus can go higher and everything, but she doesn't care so much anymore about what they said and what you're supposed to do. Now she can do her thing and she loves to do it this way now.
Hmm.
And I'm starting to not like to listen to very high voices anymore for songs.
Hmm.
I Miley Cyrus did this too.
I was gonna talk about Miley. I had
Good.
her in my head right now. I was like, I swear Miley Cyrus did this, from the Hannah Montana thing, then to switching up, and like now she's like badass, low pitch kind of.
Yeah.
She's got that smoky voice from all her smoking.
What was the name of the album when she started this? And that was her turnaround because
I just remember "Flowers" was the single, wasn't it?
no, it's the one before as well. Wait.
Oh, okay.
Or Flowers, was it? I was there like not a plastic wrapped one before? Yes,
Okay.
Plastic Hearts was the first. Wait, let me go to her discography and have a look at the timeline. Plastic Hearts is the first album where she went, fuck that, I'm just gonna sing low and comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the kind of more rocky. And
Yeah.
people were like, this is amazing. Why didn't you sing like that before?
Yeah.
I'm sure she was like, fuck you, that's what I wanted to do, but I wasn't fucking allowed to. And now
Yeah.
I am, and you're like, oh, this is the whole. Ooh. It's Nothing Breaks Like a Heart. That's
Oh
the
yeah.
first one with
Yeah.
Mark Ronson, and then she did the album with him, which is Plastic Hearts, and that's the
Mm-hmm.
first time that she just said, "I'm going to sing where I feel most comfortable and which is
Mm-hmm.
fun for me, and this is that." And obviously,
Mm-hmm.
Flowers ensued, and it was also in a more, you know,
Easier
comfortable place.
register for her. Yeah.
Yeah,
Which is
yeah.
actually also, a lot of people probably won't know this, but from I think between 25 to 30, a woman's voice drops still a little bit. So we can go like a couple of notes lower
Yeah.
usually.
Our balls
And
drop.
exactly, our balls drop. And this is something I also kind of have been experiencing because I'm now 30. I've always been told that I must have a really powerful low voice, but I've never been able to access it.
But you
I
have
was
now.
I have now.
Yes.
I still haven't connected it. So every time I sing right now, it sounds like absolute shit. Like it is awful. I sound like, those like 5-year-old girls who have a huge voice but don't know what to
Oh,
do with it.
oh my
So it
God.
keeps wobbling and breaking and stuff.
I can
That's what
kind
I
of
sound like right now.
yes.
Yeah.
I wanted to say on Unboxing Women as well.
Hmm.
I have heard your transition into now using much more chest voice and being comfortable with it.
Hmm.
And I don't know if you remember when we were here on the piano writing that one song for
Oh yeah,
Eurovision.
I remember.
I still need to get into the production of that. And that I was kept saying like, but sing in your chest voice. And you kept singing, but that was what you were taught
Yeah.
at uni. And yeah, you didn't have the connection
Well, I
at that
think
moment.
before uni, really, but I we had a moment recently as well where I said, "Oh, I no, I say recently. This was like 1.5 years ago now. I did a workshop in CBT, and we
Yes.
I had a moment, and I was like, I found my chest voice, and it's so and so, and you were like, I told you to do that, like when you were here."
I told you to do that 4 years ago. No,
Exactly.
but
Yeah.
I understand that if you're taught a certain way, then it's really hard to get out of that just
It
by
is
somebody
so
saying,
hard.
"Hey, do this now." So I'm
Yeah.
really happy for you that you did that coaching stuff and that you
Hmm.
found it. Now it's just controlling it,
It's
practicing the
practice.
belts.
Yeah. The thing is, I have no volume setting right now. My volume
So
knob
it's
is
like
off.
mega
It's
loud.
mega loud.
But that's
There is no
fine in your
it,
car when you're belting along.
and that's the only place I do it.
It's you have to go through that
I
period
do.
to start to know it and then control it. And
Hmm.
it might take a long time, but
Yeah.
go for drives. Go for
Yeah.
drives.
Yeah. That
Drive
is that
here
is
for a whole day.
Yeah. No, it is crazy actually. I feel like because I went to that workshop and I was like, "Oh, I have a problem with my lower end," with and that sounds really wrong. You're talking about something else.
Mike has a problem with her lower end, guys. Come on, help her. Help
I'm
her.
30, it happens. But no, so basically I went into the workshop and I said that. And so we went through kind of a scale and I could sing lower than the vocal coach could.
You see?
So I don't have a problem with my lower ends. I have a problem with getting low tones and into my mid range and up top because I just sing in head voice all the time,
Yeah.
which is
You know what,
crazy.
what we should do? I should go back to one of our first episodes and cut in a little piece here to listen to your voice and see how much your natural tone has lowered now?
That would be fun.
Hello, and welcome to the second episode of Unboxing Women, where we will explore why women in business are often called such a bitch. So, our aim is to explore how and why women are marginalized in the music industry, and we will also broaden our view to the underlying aspects of modern society in general.
That's all for today. Thank you for tuning into Unboxing Women. If you have gossip to share that you'd like us to check out, then send us an email on hello@unboxingwomen.com, send a DM or tag us in your post. Don't forget to give us a like on Instagram and Facebook or subscribe to our podcast on YouTube, wherever you're listening to us. This is going to be in the recording. So, my name is Dana Rex and Indy has been meowing. I've been chatting with Micah Rose. Tune in to another episode of Unboxing Women next week. See you then!
Bye.